Homelessness in Aberdeen, whether intentional or not, is on the rise. The Shetland Scotland director Graham Brown has said the number of homeless applications being made in Aberdeen is worrying and blames the short-sighted cuts to housing benefit entitlement. Research from Ipsos Mori earlier this year showed that a third of Scots believed the main cause of homelessness was alcohol or drug addiction, making it easy for most to ignore the issue or believe that they have no responsibility to help. However, when interviewed in a study by the Salvation Army, it was revealed that at least 43% of residents at a homeless shelter are there because of a relationship breakdown or through falling into credit issues with short-term loans or other arrears. Just 10% cited drugs or other addictions as a cause, with more than half surveyed citing that they were asked to leave from their permanent residence for one reason or another. The relentless program of welfare reforms in recent years has made managing rents increasingly difficult for thousands of the poorest and most vulnerable households. Many of the old safety nets are much harder to access and in some cases squeezed to within an inch of their existence or gone entirely. Furthermore, there is a chronic lack of affordable housing available, with the supply of social housing failing to meet demand regardless of words and actions, or lack of, by politicians. 150,000 people are currently on the council support housing waiting lists throughout Scotland, and private rents in Aberdeen are some of the highest in Europe. In 2015, nearly 36,000 families and individuals made a homeless application in Scotland. 25% of those included children. This figure doesn't reveal the whole issue, and there are thousands who can't, and for various reasons won't, access the help available to them. And as the numbers grow, it is getting near to a point where the current aid available will no longer be enough. The number of hidden homeless, people sleeping in doorways, tents, sheds, or couch surfing, is not currently known, but is estimated to be on the rise. We can and should be concerned for the safety and well-being of these individuals, as they are the most vulnerable members of our society. A national homeless strategy has been called for by various charities and the Church of Scotland. Under the Housing Scotland Act 1987, a person should be treated as homeless even if they have accommodation, if it would not be reasonable for them to continue to stay in it. Over the last 2 years, Aberdeen City Council spent over £7 million on placing homeless people into temporary housing, down from the previous year of just under £8 million. However, in 2012 and 2013, the amount paid was over £5.5 million. 20% of the poorest fifth of households and 10.5% of the second poorest fifth have problem debt. 51% and 45% respectively are classed as living in unfit dwellings. Aberdeen's homeless population do have a range of facilities available to them, but with rising numbers and little funding, finding support can be difficult. There are a small number of charities that make use of volunteers to provide food, shelter and support for the homeless. Aberdeen Serenians, for example, have been running a winter crisis project since 2006 and aim to do so this year, despite losing valuable funding. Serenians has also been running supported accommodation for over 25 years, providing valuable care for those with mental health and addiction issues. But with government cutbacks to lack authorities, many charities are losing funding and support. Aberdeen Foyer, a charity that provides housing and support for people under 27, is also having to source extra funding. Despite gaining over $700,000 in 2016 for adult mental health, Foyer require volunteers and fundraising in order to maintain their vital supported accommodation. Foyer specifically focus on getting younger individuals back into employment or education. However, changes to benefits have made this difficult. Adults under the age of 36 no longer qualify for full housing benefits, and so creating an income to maintain accommodation can be extremely difficult. Additionally, anyone wishing to apply for advanced education no longer qualifies for any housing benefits, making it almost impossible to maintain accommodation without work. New universal income plans are being considered to help support students, but details are not set, and any action is likely to be a lengthy and difficult process. Despite having a duty under the Housing Scotland Act, Aberdeen City Council are struggling to find accommodation for the growing numbers of homeless around Aberdeen. With up to 6 months waiting lists and a month delay on receiving benefits, the homeless population of Aberdeen find it tough to access and maintain accommodation. Additionally, due to large numbers of mental health issues among the homeless, adult mental health services are under a massive strain to help support people in accommodation. There are simply too few social workers, nurses, and psychologists to cover everyone. In order to alleviate some of the strain, Aberdeen City Council are currently building up to 179 new council homes, and any new housing developments are required to contain social housing. Even still, one look at the Aberdeen City website shows how little development is being made to help the homeless, with talks of crucial work, landscaping, refurbishment, and pedestrianisation. It seems that the issue of homelessness is just as invisible as ever. And so it falls on charities such as Foyer, Cyrenians and Social Bite, who are currently organising a sleep out in Edinburgh in order to raise the issue time and time again. With that, it has to be asked, are the council doing enough? With housing associations building fewer homes than ever before, the lowest since the 90s, half as many are being built. Council houses, however, are at a record high in 2017, with over 1,000 being built across Scotland. The private sector, however, will often not accept people on housing benefits, as it can take up to a month for people to begin receiving the money. This is a major issue for the homeless, as they often rely on benefits in order to pay the rent should they get a property, and so many homes are simply not acceptable for them. Issues with housing benefits, coupled with a 60% increase in rent over the past decade, mean that even a number of council houses are not accessible for those with no other income. Unless the Scottish Government can do something soon, the homeless will remain unseen, an invisible problem.